Hi, Mr. Narayan. Thank you so much for joining us on Blitz Business. It's a pleasure to be with you.
It's my pleasure too.
Wonderful. Please tell us a little bit about yourself first, then we'll dive deeper.
Ashish, to be very frank, telling about self is the most difficult job because there is a very thin line between whether are you boasting or you are being humble.
Yeah.
So I would just say that I started my career 44 years back. I'm a chartered accountant and cost accountant, and I started my CA practice 44 years back. That is in '79, and when I started in a very humble way, and my first employee was one peon. And from there, we have been able to grow and been able to start number of businesses, have been able to diversify into various fields besides the CA firm being there. So today, as a group, we employ about 16,000 people. We are spread across India, and as a business proposition, we provide ease of doing business in India, which I don't think so anyone in India can match our offerings.
Wow. I mean, it's a very impressive number, 16,000. So help us understand in which all industries you are.
So, as I said, one is our CA firm,
Hmm.
where we have about 500 people. We offer very different type of services. We don't sign any balance sheet. We don't file single return. We do only all India assignments, and that too very specialized assets. Only I would say my firm can do. So this is my CA firm. Then we have a Caliber company called Caliber, which has three business verticals, which is people, process, and technology. On the people vertical, we do staffing work where we give people to various companies. They require people, and the people are on our payroll, and we deploy them.
Hmm.
We take care of compliance. We take care of managed services under this vertical. Then we have a vertical called process, which is actually a BPO, where we are both into voice and non-voice, and we are both domestic and international.
Okay.
And there is a third vertical, which is technology, where we build the software applications. And we have a lot of applications which we have built are something which we are very proud of
Hmm.
because there are a lot of skills have gone into that. So this is one company. Then we have a company called My Branch. As the name suggests, we provide branch infrastructure to various customers.
Okay.
So any person who wants to do all India business, we are the people who they can depend on. So we are already in about 70 cities with more than 80 offices in 70 cities,
You
and
provide packages,
70 cities.
70 cities. Okay. But
Yeah,
what's
so
the service?
we are
You
the
pro-
largest in this. Anyone who wants to expand their business and open branches, rather than opening their own branch, which requires a lot of issues of finding a location, finding compliance, building, then taking care of day-to-day management.
okay.
So it is not a co-working concept, to be very frank. It's a branch concept, and therefore, whoever wants to open branches beyond the metro cities or six cities, look to us for opening their branches.
So it's
So
a fully outsourced branching model, basically. If
no, so what we do is we take a larger office
Hmm.
and divide it into smaller offices
Okay.
within that.
Okay.
And we give shops and establishment registration to the person who is sitting there so that it's actually an independent office within an office.
Understood. Okay.
Okay, so in our model, a bank can operate, a NBFC can operate, mutual fund can operate, general insurance companies can operate, life insurance companies can operate. These people cannot operate out of a business center. So anyone who wants to have expansion, and therefore my customer base does not normally take one branch; they take in 5 cities, 7 cities, based on their expansion plan.
Okay.
So we are the largest in this segment with
Okay.
a known, I would say, if I have to really search for a competitor, I can't even see a person who is near to me.
Yeah,
And
it's a very interesting proposition. I mean, we have done 200 podcasts till now, but this is something very unique.
yeah, so that is what we are in. And by in another 6 months, we should be in 100 cities. So if you look at it, our business, then we of course have an aviation company
Okay.
where we are specializing in certain services, and which is in terms of able to bill people based on. So we have just launched this service. So we are the only. There are possibly two, three companies in the world who can do this. We will be specializing the services in South Asian region.
What kind of services?
This is navigational services. So, basically providing to uh, the airport authorities of the countries
Okay.
uh, various navigational services.
A- Anything else, or that's it? It's quite a diverse range.
No, so then under my branch, we also have a company which manufactures modular furniture
Wow.
because when we are expanding to various cities, our biggest challenge is that our offices have to be nearly have same look and feel because, as I said, customer takes 10 cities, 5 cities. He expects good quality everywhere.
So how do you manage all this diverse and different businesses? So यहाँ पे तो एक business चलाने में कई बार हाथ टाइट हो जाते हैं.
So Ashish, there are only two things. One is best way to manage is not to manage. Okay. And you can afford to not to manage only when you believe in trust. When you start trusting people.
And which is the most favorite business for you out of all of this?
For me, all of my favorite businesses, to be very frank.
You have to pick one. One.
But anything which you start new becomes my favorite business because that's like my small child, which I need to nurture, make it get into adulthood, and then it can start running.
So which one is in the nurturing
Yeah,
stage?
the aviation one, of course,
Aviation
presently.
presently. Understood. So let's start with your CA journey first.
Yeah.
So does doing CA really help you understand all the businesses, and that's how you ventured into separately? Or what was that moment for you to be like, I want to now start my own different verses apart from CA?
This has a history behind it, actually. When I started my family, I was a science student, so I was not a meant for commerce in any case. So till 11th, in my time, it used to be 11 plus 4. So in my family, my eldest sister was a doctor, then I had architect sister, then my elder brother had done MBA from Calcutta, then my cousin. So with joint family, he has done engineering from Bombay IIT. So I asked my father, that time the vocational guidance used to be to ask your father, what should I do? And I asked him, and he said, well, we don't have a CA, so you become CA in our family. So that was the vocational guidance. So from a science student, I took commerce. I asked him, what will I do after? Because I never knew what CA is. I said, what will I do after becoming a CA? He said, you'll have to practice. So without knowing much, I thought I will have to practice. So I took admission in Sydenham College.
Okay.
And then I went and booked 2 telephones. Because that time, telephone would take 10, 12 years to be, when you apply and you get a telephone, it
Get
used
the
to,
line, telephone line.
yeah, so there used to be about 12 years waiting period.
Okay.
So I said, if I have to become CA and practice, then I will need telephone. So I took admission and I booked 2 telephones.
Okay.
So what I'm trying to say is, I had made up my mind while joining only that I will have to be practicing. So when I became CA and cost accountant, the best 2 Indian companies I had offered from them for a job. Those 2 companies were very, and they exist even today. I wouldn't like to share their names because that may not be proper. But I did not join them because I had to practice. Okay,
So that's
and in first 2 3 years not doing well at all because when you're doing CA, people treat you differently. When you become CA, people treat you differently.
Tell us the difference how they were treating you before CA and after CA.
So before they are not sure whether you'll become CA or not. So if you ask for some work, they'll say, "ठीक है, CA बन जाना तो आ जाना," because they don't know whether you will become CA or not. But when you actually become CA, then you are getting down to the business. So they would say, "Okay, come after 3 months, come after 6 months." And being from I would say, low middle class family, you don't have the money to survive for 6 months if someone says come after 6 months. So that's the difference. So as I said, for 2 years, I started in 79. It was around 82 that I was all the time one thought used to bother me, that what this world must be thinking, CA and cost accountant, not doing well. And all my friends from Sydenham, because we had all industrialists and rich people, so they had all settled down. And I was, struggling. So my thought came as to, what the people must be thinking. And this, I'm sure the thought comes to everyone. So this is a very important message for anyone who will listen to this.
लोग क्या कहेंगे?
We always think, अरे दुनिया क्या सोचती होगी?
Yeah.
Yeah, about us. And this thought was bothering me also all the time, that CA, cost accountant, married, not able to even survive, 15 days expenses. So what this world must be thinking. And this thought used to, bother me a lot. So one day I sat down and I said, this thought always comes what this world must be thinking. So let me list down what my world is. Because the person walking on the road is not your world. So I prepared a list. The list was of 120 people. So my first realization came in life was that my world is too small. And now I had a number to my question what the world must be thinking. So now the was what this 120 people would be thinking. Right? So I said, if this thought is coming, let me go and talk to them. So I selected some 20 people and I would discuss my problem with them. And I realized that their attention focus was between 3 to 8 minutes.
Okay.
When I was saying something, between 3 to 8 minutes, they were focused on what I was saying. Then their mind would also wander. They will ask for tea or they will do something. So this was my second realization that what we think, that what the world must be thinking, that world on an average does not have 5 minutes, more than 5 minutes to think about. Okay. So that certainly gave me and freedom. I said, this world does not have more than 5 minutes to think about me, what I'm doing. Then whatever I do, if I'm doing fine, they will align with it. To them, it doesn't matter.
Basically, you're not the center of attention.
Yeah. So till you're doing fine, till you're happy, the world doesn't bother about what you're doing.
Yeah.
So as a CA, I was expecting my, audit and tax to grow, and that is why I was not able to grow. Now I started looking world as a full of opportunity, because I can do whatever I want to do, and the world will align with it. So suddenly, host of opportunities open for me, and that is how I started thinking, what is it that I can do, and that is how, over a period of time, I've started number of businesses, and because now I have the freedom of doing what I want to do.
Wonderful. That's truly very inspirational. And I'm seeing you are wearing the KCSA logo on your t-shirt. So
Yes.
how did this all sort of materialize? Opportunity came, and please do tell us.
Uh, I will share firstly with everyone. Opportunities are always coming. We have to be watchful about them. People are, I would say, complacent and they miss the opportunities
Yeah.
in their life because the comfort zone drives them to doing, not changing, not able to take any decisions. And personally, I always feel that if you follow footsteps, you will never leave footmarks. I'll repeat, if you follow footsteps, you will never leave footmarks. And if you don't follow steps, then it's always going to be a difficult journey.
True.
It's not an easy job to not to follow footsteps and think that the life will be comfortable. So one basic thing is we have to be prepared that whatever we try to do different. So even if you look at it, all my businesses have a different proposition. As I said, we promote ease of doing business.
Yeah.
So any person who wants to do all India business, I can give them office, I can provide people, I can take care of their back office, I can take care of their field services, I can take care of their technology, I can take care of their audits. So he can just focus on his work. And so we are the only group, I would say, who anyone wants to start business today, any foreigner or anyone who's new entrant in India and wants to start business in 70 cities in 1 month, I can facilitate his business start. I can ensure that his business is up and running in 70 cities in 1 month.
It's a very powerful proposition.
Absolutely. So as a group, we offer only powerful propositions. So we do. So I always say don't have to say I'm also there. You have to say I'm the only one. Then only it makes sense.
So what kind of brands have you helped establish?
So we have number of brands. No, as I told you, my branch is one brand. Caliber is one brand.
No, in
Um,
terms of your customer.
no, so that's what I'm saying. So my customers, because we offer them number of services. Firstly, we have a very sticky relationship with them. Okay, because you're not just saying. And secondly, what you can provide, no one can provide. And the second endeavor has to be that you don't just work for your clients. You have to make difference to them. So unless you don't work with this attitude that you have to make difference to your client's life, then you will not be successful, because then you are only doing a transaction.
Yes.
But when you work with an intention that I have to make difference to my client's life, then there is a passion behind working. To how to see that I can improve my customer's balance sheet. What is it that I can do for my customer? What is it I can do in his operations? So that attitude has to be there when you work for customers.
Wonderful. Wonderful. Let's talk. Uh, uh, I think yeah, a little bit about Kalpana Chawla Space.
So, firstly, so what I that's why I shared this with you, that you have to be always looking for opportunities
Yes,
and things come.
right.
So, I have also a foundation which I had registered in 1985. I had no money, but I registered foundation in 1985. Okay, so one thing which I would like to convey to people is, irrespective in the situation that you are in, there are thousands of people who are in worse situation that you are in, and therefore you should always be willing to help them, irrespective of what your situation is. Okay, because most of the people feel that, oh, I don't have enough money, I don't have this, so therefore I cannot help people. But that's not the correct statement. Even keeping your hand on a person who needs you on his shoulder and talking to him and listening to his sorrows or listening to his talks for half an hour, is you can contribute to his life. Okay, so one should never feel that I cannot help someone. You're always in a position, because there are always thousands of people who are worse off than you.
True.
Okay, so never let any one single person who is seeking help, don't think that you cannot help. You can positively make a contribution to that person's life. Okay, so this has to be general philosophy of life. Then only you can do certain things. So that is why I wanted to share that my foundation we started in '84 when I had no money, but I said no, I must help people. So we were giving scholarship for people to study, so that, because personally, first I feel is that uh, helping anyone by money can help that person for a small while, but if you make him educated, then you not only bring about a change in his life, but you bring about a change in the whole generation that will follow. You bring about a change in their life as well.
Very
And
true.
therefore, we have been focusing more on education. And Kalpana Chawla Space Academy is one of the extension to our activity, which happened more not as a chance, but by a decision that we took, that we must do something for the nation. So Kalpana Chawla Space Academy, actually we call it Nation Building Mission. Okay, so this is the passion with which we are working. What I'm trying to say is, it's a nation building mission, because India is already number three superpower in space, in rocketry science. We are behind America and China, and we are catching up with most of the nations. We have already caught up, and I'm sure in next 10 to 15 years we are going to be leading superpower number one. The reason is we have the brains, and this is my conviction that we have the brains and we make the most economical things.
So you talked about nation. So what is your view on current government?
Current?
Current government.
No. So let me tell you. So what happened? There was a person, Dr. Pujari, who was running Kalpana Chawla Science Institute
Okay.
in Karad,
Mhm.
and he was running this on a very small scale. He was teacher in a school, but he was recipient of President Award, and most passionate person I have ever seen.
Wow.
So, so this man, when he came to meet me and he wanted to start, Dr. Pujari, when he came and wanted to meet me, he said when he was receiving award from Abdul Kalam ji told him, Dr. Pujari, you must do something different. He got award for his contribution in academics because he teaches through dancing. He teaches through unconventional ways. So he went back to his location, Karat, and he said, "What when Abdul Kalam ji has said to do something different, what is different?" Like so, since Abdul Kalam ji was associated with rocketry, he said, "Let me start something to do with rocketry." So he took permission from Kalpana Chawla's parents for using the name, and he opened Kalpana Chawla Scientific Institute. In fact, this was inaugurated by Kalpana Chawla's father only. And on weekend days, that is Saturday, Sunday, he would call students, teach them how rocket and about rocketry science. And he got such good response from the students that he bought one vehicle, and then he would take his vehicle to various villages, small villages around Karat, and introduce the children to the rocketry science. So he wanted to move from Karat to Lonavala, and Lonavala I was associated with one school called Advocate Bapu Bonde High School. So uh, they had actually approached me that Dr. Pujari is shifting to Lonavala, so we want to start Space Academy here. And that is why I got to meet Dr. Pujari. So he told me all these things, what he's doing. So I told him, Dr. Pujari, what you're doing is really very great and I really appreciate your passion. But what is the outcome of this? I said, we will be really successful if we can produce 10 Kalpana Chawla. So even he was taken aback, about what I was saying, because I said, whatever we do in life, there has to be an outcome of it.
Yes.
Okay. So then I told him that India is becoming, third world power. And that is why, even if you look at it, 2 days back, government has now allowed 100% FDI in space. Okay. There are hundreds of startups which are registered in this sector. So I told him that to be number one, no one has done this calculation as to how many scientists will be. And scientist is something which has to be in the DNA of a person. It is not like a software engineer that you can train him for 2 years and he will become a scientist. It has to be in his DNA. Because he thinks everything, he questions everything, sees everything differently. He does not accept things, he questions. And this has to be, starting from birth, that, this characteristic has to be in that. And I told him Tendulkar started playing cricket when he was 4-5 years old, not when he was 12 years old. Musicians start learning when they are 4-5 years old.
Yeah.
They don't start their training when they're 12 years old or 15-years old. So even the scientist, we should start training from the time they're student, they're small.
Young. Yeah.
Not at the age of 19, 20 when they're looking for becoming engineer and all that you start training them. So I said we will select 50 best students in India who want to become scientists every year. We will offer them 6 years course. So they would take admission in the college school itself because we are part of the school in the Advocate Bonde High School, which I'm also a trustee there. I said they would take admission in the 7th standard. So 6 past students, we will have a national examination where people would appear for that and we'll select 50 best students irrespective of caste, creed, and their financial situation. Okay, we'll select 50 best every year. So over a period of 6 years, we will have 300 students who are studying in the school and will ensure that they become, very good scientists. So this thought process, we thought and we said that, okay, we will let us start this. And then all of us agreed that we should do this. So this happened in last January. And when he met me in the month of March. So April, we started creating the infrastructure of Kalpana Chawla Space Academy at Lonavala. So it's about 15,000 square feet of place where we have created this academy already. It got ready in the month of September, 7 September to be precise. We did the puja, 9 September. And 11 September, we started a trial batch of the school itself. And so this school batch, I will tell you now, they started on 11 September. Today we are in February. In 5 months, there has been a transformational change in those 20 students who are undergoing this. It has been transformational change. Their attitude, their outlook towards life, their ambition, their own, they are doing very well in their present academics as well. And 28th October, we had the official opening by Shri Anil Kakotkarji, Shri Nayak, Anil Kakotkar ji was the atomic energy chairman. Then Mr. Nayak and Mr. Kale, Dr. Kale, Dr. Nayak, who both were past group directors for ISRO. Then present ISRO directors, Sri Sudheer Kumar ji. And they had unanimous opinion that what we are trying to do has no semblance of that, not only in India, but the whole world. So you're the first of its type who's trying to create, or rather make scientists from this age of when they're from the seventh standard.
Wonderful, wonderful. I think it's a great initiative for sure, and it will help country,
So
entire
that is
nation.
why I said that we call it nation building mission.
Correct, absolutely, absolutely.
Okay. And we want to create the best scientist. So when I said this, I told you earlier also, if you follow footsteps, you will never leave footmarks. So there are a lot of challenges. The
Yes,
first biggest challenge is the curriculum itself, because there is no precedence. So there is no curriculum defined.
true.
And we have laid down a rule that we will have only 20% theory, 80% will be practicals and projects.
Wonderful. Definitely, I think something to look out for, and how it goes, and I'm sure great people will be coming
We
up.
have not left any choice for us, to be very frank. It has to go only in one direction, which is
Yeah,
the rocket's direction.
yes, yes,
Only
definitely.
up.
Only up. Well said. Well said. So, Mr. Narayan, then sort of moving on in terms of, I mentioned earlier, let's talk about nation building. So, let's try to understand from your perspective, uh, what is your opinion on the current government?
Current,
Current government, Sarkar.
see, one thing I will tell you, our endeavor is irrespective of the government. We are not seeking any government help or anything.
In
But
general, since you are
but
doing your
but
business,
but when I said that we will become top country in next decade, is only because the efforts of the government. Because as I said, they've opened FDI, they've giving encouragement to startups, and there's a lot of industrial activity which is happening all over the country. So I'm very confident that next 15 years, because of our government's endeavor and their what actions they have taken, this is the golden period for India. Next 15 years.
in any particular area you feel there needs to be changes in policy, new policy, or it's already there, and we are on track? Anything?
Policy is something which always evolves. It's never a static. The way technology is changing, the way things are changing, I think those policies will have to keep on evolving. One thing I'm very happy is that the present government is uh, conscious of challenges of the people, and they, a lot of things they do on their own to improve the conditions of the country. Like, if to be very frank, we were only known as a service country, about 10 years back.
True.
But now we are seeing the transformation of building the manufacturing base as well. And you see, bringing about change in ourselves is the most difficult job. So when you're talking of 130 crore people and you want to bring about a change in their thought process,
Takes time.
I think it's a humongous job.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I really admire the capacity of our Prime Minister to bring about a change.
Do you feel you want to enter into manufacturing some point in time? It's a new challenge.
See, today we are more into service sector. We have been excelling in service sector. And barring, the furniture making that we are doing, as I told you, we are into manufacturing. We are a service-oriented organization. So I wouldn't say that we wouldn't like to get into manufacturing, but I would like to say that I would like to invest my energies in the place where we can do the best. Okay, but just to share with you, now we have worked out the curriculum for KCSA, and so we have worked out the 6-year curriculum. Um, and at the end of 6 years, the students will be able to actually make satellites which can be, sent to in the orbit.
Oh, really? Wow.
Yeah.
Wow. Wow. That's wonderful. So then this sort of brings me to the question. So we get a lot of question, people want to do business, but business needs capital. So how have you managed to, first of all, start and then sort of enter into all these? How do you manage? And since you're a CA, you know the value of capital and everything. So how does someone go about getting the capital if they're very limited capital?
I don't think so. Capital is the limitation. What is limited is the conviction.
Okay.
Okay. I don't need to be climbing straight with the 10th floor. You have to climb one floor. And at each, like for me, I would say that there are no shortcuts to any business. It has taken us 44 years to do what we have reached. On day one, it was not like that. For me, meeting my monthly expenditure was also a problem. But if you have conviction, if you have clarity of thought, and a self belief, then you will keep on growing. Because, see, finally, if you're convinced, then it is easier to convince someone else to invest in your business.
Yes.
If you yourself feel doubtful and you're not convinced, so I would put it, have you put your 100% stake into it? People don't put it. People say, "अब मेरे को मेरा घर के चलाने के लिए पैसे separate रखा हुआ है." So that conviction is, I don't want to take risk. I want people to invest and distribute my risk.
So did you raise capital, or you were so for you what
No,
was?
so we have not raised any. We are not funded by any PE or anything.
Wow. Do you plan to raise?
Um, uh, well, if the business demands, it's not we are averse to raising, but it has to be need based. You can't just raise money. See, money needs to be raised when you feel that you're doing something in 5 years and you need to do in 2 years. How do you do it? So the money raising has to be purpose, not for spreading risk.
But that's wonderful to know, because nowadays any company which starts, first thing is they raise capital.
Yeah, and that is why you see out of so many failures happening.
Yeah.
See, business is not just one aspect of business. It is like managing your whole body. Your body has different parts. Business has different parts.
So
It
what
is
happens?
manufactured.
So what happens when you get excess capital? Which part it goes
No. So that's where I said excess capital will get into your tummy. So it is better that you don't have money so that you remain trim and fit.
to? That's a good analogy. Uh, so what was, Mr. Narayan, for you the biggest challenge of your entire career? Let's talk about that. The biggest you have ever faced. Like you were like, this challenge is.
The challenge ने नहीं हिलाया मेरे जो biggest है कि I had more ideas than the money I have. I still have more ideas than the money I have. Okay.
What is the current idea which is brewing in your mind?
No, that's why I said is how can you bring about a change and difference to people's life? I think that's very important.
That's.
So you have to be always working on that.
But कोई तो life में कुछ challenge previously, कुछ setback,
No,
something.
देखिए, I will tell you, if you run, I don't think so. There is, firstly, in business, there is no choice of walking. Either you run or you stop. Okay, business, you don't have the choice of walking. So when you are going to run, I'm 100% sure you will falter and you will fall. And sometimes you will fall so badly that you feel that you can't even get up now and run again. But it is that point of time that your ability to get up and say, no, still I'm good, is the most important thing.
How does someone get that ability?
Because when you're down, you lose self pride. You feel you can't do this, you can't do this. And that is the most important, that you get up and still feel, no, I will still make it. I think that is very important. Then rest of the things follow. I always tell people, find the purpose, means will follow. Right? So if you have a purpose, then money is one part of it. It's not everything. It cannot solve your any problem. It cannot solve all your problem. It can solve only part of the problem.
Wonderfully said. So what is for you the next milestone, if any, what you are looking at key after all this? What is one thing now you want to achieve, or two things which is in your mind?
No, as I said, I told you earlier, my latest companies which I start, they become my most favorite.
Yeah.
So today, the aviation company and Kalpana Chawla are my most favorite. The rest of the companies are running on their own. And fortunately for me, I have most wonderful children and they are managing it well. So, and as an organization also, we have created an institution. So I have the right people in the right place, but doing their job wonderfully well.
And any sort of, since you are a CA and we have many CA listeners also, so any tips for people who are doing CA exam or are becoming CAs? Any tips from your side?
I would say for becoming CA, stop attending to classes. I'm absolutely against attending classes.
Okay.
See, in life, you have to get into thinking mode and not just, following mode. In classes, they just teach you steps. This problem, do like this, this, this. They don't allow you to become thinker. And in any professional exam, why people fail is because they are not thinkers. Because there will be some questions which will want you to be thinking person. And if you have studied on your own, I never joined any class. My both children are also chartered accountants. They have not joined any class.
Oh, wow.
Okay, you have to be individual thinker. Then only, because there will be twist in life. You have to
Yeah.
learn to find solutions.
Yeah.
There will be twist in questions.
That is very important. What if an out of syllabus question comes? Then you're stuck.
They would come. So when I used to leave my house for the examination hall, I used to have this conviction that now today is not my exam. It is the examiner's exam. Let me see what he can ask me.
That is a good approach to have. Yeah. It generates a lot of confidence.
Yeah, it is actually, if you look at it, it is his exam. No, no. Let me see what he
Was
will.
the person able to think enough and put into questions, or he just copy pasted the questions?
Yeah. And secondly, for students, I will say everything, always one thing in life, take out have to do. Say, I want to do it. Like your exam, don't say, I have to appear for my CA. I have to appear for my exam. Say, I want to appear for my exam. The whole approach will change.
Many things are mentally, if you are able to convince yourself, then things can happen.
That's how, because your body language will decide, no?
Yes, yes.
Your mental framework will decide how are you going to pass or fail, not only in exam but in life.
If you keep thinking, if I fail, then you are in different mindset. If you're not convinced yourself, definitely. I think these are very important things. It was wonderful to have you, Mr. Narayan. Very inspiring. Many things to learn from you. Anything you would like to share which we may have missed?
No, nothing. I would only tell people that have conviction, and more than conviction, have consistency. I feel that people lack consistency. You must have conviction and then follow it up with consistency.
Wonderful, wonderful. Thank you so much for your time. It was a really pleasure.
Same here, Ashish.